We've received quite a bit of interest in my Free to Be workshop, so to that effect, beneath this video is a link that will give you a description for the workshop, and we've also included a special discount. So if that's something you would be interested in, I would invite you to click that link, and I hope that you would find the course to be quite beneficial. I want to begin today with a simple declaration, and that is when you have ongoing engagements with that narcissistic person, they can absolutely wear you out emotionally and psychologically. How many times have you thought about how weary you feel with that person, or how much futility that's generated by that person, or despair or confusion or befuddlement? You know, what's going on here? And why are we engaging in this non-productive way that just seems to be so common? And then to make matters worse, it can actually pull you into a deeper ongoing pattern of carrying tension when you're around that person. There can be a simmering anger that can settle down on the inside of you, or maybe anxiety or depression, just a sense of pessimism that can come over you. When you're dealing with a narcissistic person, they can literally just drain that psychic energy out of you to the extent that you feel like a shell of the person you were meant to be. Let's underscore that narcissists, with their self-absorbed, controlling ways, have little sense of reciprocity. As in your healthy way of thinking, you're wanting to say, I'll be there for you, and I want to engage with you in a productive way, and I want you to do the same with me, and we can make this a win-win. The narcissist is like, I like the word win. I win, you lose. They don't think about, their responsibility for you, because it's all about who they are. And that being said, then they don't have empathy for you. They don't really care about knowing and understanding you from your vantage point. They're in the relationship pretty much for a what's in it for me kind of an outcome. It takes very little to provoke them. They feel zero need to receive input from you. They can make up the facts, if we can use that word rather loosely, as they go along. They can rationalize pretty much anything about their inappropriate behavior. It's exhausting, isn't it? And I know that there are times when you feel that way. Now, let's understand that when you have that exhaustion and when they've drained you of your psychic energy, narcissists can actually take a backwards, kind of perverse satisfaction from that. It's like, I win. And then they can rationalize and say, you see, this is why I have to tell you what to do, or this is why I'm stubborn whenever you bring your stuff to me, because you don't make any sense anyway. Now, they may not be thinking that consciously, but that's the net result. And so it allows them to feel like you're not somebody that I want to take counsel from anyway. It's absurd how predictable it can be, isn't it? Now, I have 5 primary indicators, and frankly, we could come up with more, that show that person, that narcissistic person, has drained you of your energy, and we're going to see if we can figure out how not to let this be a perpetual thing for you. Indicator number 1 is that you find yourself feeling cautious around that person to the point of being overly defensive. How many times do you feel like you have to justify yourself? How many times do you say, no, that's not what I said. This is what I was trying to tell you instead. And you go into this rationalizing and explaining, and then of course they interrupt and they invalidate, and then you continue and you play the game just as they're playing the game. Stop. It doesn't work. And all it does is it makes you feel that much more defeated and deflated when you move on down the road, excuse me, simply because they won't quit. They're highly offensive, which is part of that control. And the more you stay in that defensive posture, you have to begin asking, why am I working so hard defending someone that doesn't really need a whole lot of defense? That's crazy making. Or a second indicator that they've drained you of your psychic energy is that many times you feel like you're playing the peacekeeper role way too much. How many times do you find yourself apologizing when you don't really need to? or you give in to the narcissist's demands unnecessarily. You play the role of the enabler. Okay, if I do this, then maybe they'll be in a better mood today. And at some point, it's like, I'm working so hard to keep this person off my back, and that narcissist is over there thinking, keep it up. Maybe you'll eventually get to me, but not today, but keep it up. And because they love it, because it implies that their pronouncements and their behaviors are of utmost importance, and they pick up the cues on that. And it's like, good, you seem to really want my approval or my cooperation. I'll just keep playing that game with you. That's how they operate. Or a third indicator that you're being drained is, and I know that this is something you'll, embarrassing perhaps, say, yeah, this is me. You get drawn into the same arguments repeatedly. You know what I'm talking about with that? I can't tell you how many times somebody will come in here and they'll say, I have this person in my extended family, or my partner, or my kids, or whoever it might be, and we just keep arguing about the same thing. And every time I try to explain things, it just blows up. And I'm thinking, well, do you think the next time you give the same arguments to that same person that this is going to be the one that works? I said, no. I mean, if you just push that replay button on the recorder and say the same things, doesn't get through. Remember, they don't want your input. They tend not to make adjustments. They'll never say, hey, thanks for bringing that insight to me. And yet you wind up trying to over and over and over repeat your thoughts. That needs to stop. It drains you of your energy. A fourth indicator, and that is when you're with other people in other relationships, you feel less effective in those relationships. I recall talking with a woman, 50-ish, who had gone through a really ugly divorce with an awful, awful person that was just, so difficult to engage with. And as the weeks and months and the next couple of years had gone by, after it all was done, one person after another would come to her and say, you seem so much more relaxed right now, or it's nice to have you back. And she would say to me, I didn't realize that it showed that much. And it's like, yeah, it's like you've been carrying around all this strain and tension in this gunny sack, and you pitch the gunny sack on your back and you carry it everywhere you go. It has a ripple effect. And that implies that you've been drained of the legitimate you. And then a fifth indicator that you've been drained is your estimation of yourself has dropped significantly. Even if you have a history of having some good self-esteem or good reason to think well of yourself, when you've been exposed to criticism and invalidation and harshness and second guessing over and over time, it takes its toll. And to the extent that it's like, well, I'd be embarrassed for people to know about some of the things that I've said and done in response to this person. They bring out the worst in you, or, I could have done better, or you just lose sight of the things that are right about you. That's an indication that says the narcissist has gotten on the inside of you and they're still in your head. Now, let's understand that ultimately, when the externals like this are difficult and that person over there is not going to make any adjustment, there may be the possibility for you to have to say, I can't change that individual. I can't change the circumstances. And one of the most difficult situations I've had in my counseling with many people is having these individuals come to terms with the fact that in some external circumstances, the narcissist can indeed win. And they can make life difficult for you. And we're not going to go with the notion that says there's a magical formula that you can use to make all their negative repercussions go away, because they can. Now, having said that, we're not going to say that has to ruin you as a person to where you have no emotional energy left to carry on with the rest of your life. Let's underscore a few thoughts before we wrap it here. First and foremost, when you're engaging with that highly narcissistic person, you've got to get away from that reciprocity kind of mindset that actually is healthy. But you have to also know this person doesn't do healthy. Therefore, you have to individualize your own emotional well-being. And that's difficult, because we want to have emotional well-being based on the fact that other people are kind and loving and friendly, and I feel good. Well, when it's with that narcissist, you're going to have to find it from the inside of you, because they're not going to be contributing to that at all. Another thought is you want to live in your today and recognize that today there are certain things that you can and should do that reflects self-care. What is it that you enjoy? Whether it's reading a book or doing exercises or having certain foods or going out with certain people and attending various kinds of functions, make sure that you are busy tending to you, because the narcissist can have all sorts of plans for you that might run contrary, but no one's going to take care of you like you. Practice self-care in a very consistent kind of way. And then we're going to add to that and say, in addition to that, look for your ways to be assertive. When the narcissist says, well, I don't like this and I don't like that, and you should have done this differently, the assertive person says, nonetheless, I'm going to stand up for myself. I can set my consequences when necessary, or my stipulations, or my plans, my boundaries, and that person is not someone that you're going to run all of your plans through. Now, let's underscore, what I'm talking about here is not easy, because they are such, well, they're kind of like ticks on you. They just suck the lifeblood out of you. But you're going to need to learn how to stick with your basics and not let them so drain you that you forget that there's plenty of decency on the inside of you. You want to hold on to the notion that says, I'm my own person. I'm no narcissist tool. And when the narcissist is being difficult, that's not necessarily my problem to solve, at least of that external nature. I'm going to be committed to finding people and places and activities that do reinforce the things that are right and good about me. And I'm simply not going to let that other person drain me of who I am. I've got enough resolve that says I'm on team healthy. And if the narcissist doesn't want to join you, so be it. I'm going to stick with what I know is wisest and best for me, given the circumstances that we have. And I do hope that videos such as this can give you some good thought for stimulating self-reflection. If you've not already done so, I would encourage you to hit that subscribe button. And we also have now a membership that you can have with our Surviving Narcissism Network. It's a very minimal fee, and it allows us to have allows you access to our live feeds that we have, Q&A kind of things every single week, and extra videos and articles. So check that out. If you have a need for counseling, and if there's someone in your area that could assist you, then I would encourage you to do so. If you don't have someone in your immediate area, we have a sponsor who can help you with online counseling. That's very popular these days. And there's a link below that with a group that can help you with finding licensed professional counselors who have experience in that, and I would encourage you to do that. In addition, we have my workshops, my Free2Be workshop, which is very extensive about learning how to find who you are. We have our survivingnarcissism.tv website, drlescarter.com, and other resources, books, etc. down below. We want to be a place where we can help you with your healing. Narcissists, sure enough, can drain you, but only as far as you're going to allow that. And make sure that you put the stop sign up and say, you know what, it's only going to go so far. I'm going to practice self-care, and in doing so, I'm going to see if I can find my place of steadiness and consistency, and that's going to be the best way that you can go to find your place of peace.